in your personal life and in the work that you do, how do you see ritual and ceremony? What's your relationship with them?
Well, it's such a good question. First of all, I just want to say thank you for having me and for bringing our mutual friend here, because that actually brought tears to my eyes, of course, because we get affected by the people that we meet day to day who, are coming to really ask for help with healing. So, in terms of ritual and ceremony, I mean, it's such a interesting, being belonging to the white dominant culture. I think that we have so much to learn because we've unlearned this deep intelligence. I think that we all are born with, to know what ceremony and ritual is. And so, as I've heard you speak of too, what do we do? We have to reclaim this knowing, this deep knowing. And luckily all of us have so many teachers and mentors who are helping us. But I think, you just need to look at the lives of children, and how naturally and easily children fall into ritual and ceremony. And I've worked with a lot of children in my life, working with people with cancer and families, and children take to it. It's like our birthright. It's an instinct. And so I think when we look at children and we ask children to be involved in even extremely difficult things, like the death of a parent or a grandparent, and of course parents and grandparents say to me, well, oh, how are we, this instinct to protect our children from being deeply involved and stepping into these truly challenging and difficult times. They do it immediately with such a knowing. I mean, I think children are teaching us how to reconnect with, if we let them. So I often say to parents and grandparents, like, give children an opportunity to speak to, what would they do? How could they be involved in a ceremony or ritual? So, and then, follow the guidance. So I think our children and grandchildren are helping us to reconnect with what we already know. I think ceremony and ritual are necessary in if we want to bring everything into the whole, which I think is what I consider, ceremony and ritual to do. That recognizing our wholeness within these times where we feel fragmented. When illness comes, you feel separated and exile from yourself. And so, of course, what ceremony and ritual does, which you are doing so beautifully in the work you're doing, Megan, and your team, is to honor bringing all of the fragmented parts into the whole. And even in the basic, most simple circle where you set up the conditions for sacred space, that is honoring wholeness. And then we remember that even with illness, even if we're facing death, if we're celebrating something important, that we remember our wholeness. So in our Western culture, we're trying to separate all of those parts out and then put most of our energy on what's positive. And if the dark and light aren't balanced, then we're missing something incredibly important. Is how we're not equipped then to go through the milestones in our life, which will inevitably be difficult and challenging. Nobody gets through a life without facing loss and challenge. So we've disempowered ourselves beautifully to say, I have no idea how to look at illness, how to look at my own death, how to look at the loss of people in our lives. And so to me, ceremony and ritual are a necessity. I mean, it sounds serious when I say that, but I actually mean it, because we don't have many ways, especially in secular culture, to honor this idea that there's a wholeness that we're reaching for.